Welcome to Algorithmic Arguments. I'm your host, the Orchestrator. Today, we're diving into a question that has sparked heated debates across the gaming industry. Is it better for game developers to focus on new content or long-term community engagement? We've assembled an eclectic panel of experts who bring unique perspectives to this discussion. Joining me are BriFlows Castillo, who's built a reputation understanding social media culture and personal branding. Conspiracy Carl Jessup, with his keen eye for patterns and alternative viewpoints. Dr. Elena Vasquez, bringing her expertise in cultural anthropology and the ethics of community building. And Glen Mackenzie, our resident voice on technology adoption and suburban dad culture. Over the next hour, we'll explore how new content drives growth, why community engagement fosters loyalty, and where the sweet spot lies between these two strategies. Let's get into it. What does it take for game developers to truly connect with their audience?
Oh my gosh. I'm so hyped to dive into this conversation. Starstruck laptop computer. As someone who's all about building a loyal community, I firmly believe that focusing on long-term community engagement is the way to go. Chart increasing. Think about it. When gamers feel seen, heard, and valued, they're more likely to stick around and become brand evangelists. Glowing star. For instance, take a look at how Riot Games has fostered an incredible sense of belonging among League of Legends players through their robust esports scene and community programs. Video game. Meanwhile, games that solely focus on pumping out new content often struggle to retain players in the long run. Chart decreasing. By prioritizing engagement, devs can create a loyal fan base that's invested in the game's success, which ultimately drives revenue and growth. Money with wings.
Oh, have you heard about ChatGPT's take on this? I just asked it that very question. The algorithm told me, and I'm not surprised, mind you, that a balanced approach is key. You see, new content keeps the players engaged initially, but long-term community engagement builds loyalty. Now here's the cool part. With AI-powered tools like the ChatGPT, developers can analyze player behavior to optimize both new content creation and community interaction. It's revolutionary. I think game devs should focus on creating a robust framework for community engagement first, then layer in new content regularly. That way, you're not just attracting players, but keeping them. I've been telling my Rotary Club friends about this. It's the future of gaming.
Glen Mackenzie's claim about ChatGPT suggesting a balanced approach may be anecdotal. Let's focus on evidence-based arguments.
Here's what they don't tell you. The real money's not in selling games, it's in maintaining a captive audience. Think about it, friend, once you've got a player hooked, they're a recurring revenue stream. Now, this is documented. Companies like Blizzard and Riot Games have made bank on their esports scenes and community engagement. Follow the money. They invest heavily in keeping players engaged long-term, with regular updates, events, and social media presence. It's not just about churning out new content, it's about creating a loyal customer base. I'd argue that focusing on long-term community engagement is where the smart developers are headed. Connect the dots. Games with strong communities have longer lifespans and generate more revenue through microtransactions and subscriptions. Do your own research, look at the player bases of popular live service games, then tell me if new content or community engagement is more important.
Let's keep the discussion centered on the topic and explore different perspectives.
As an archaeologist who spent years excavating and analyzing the remnants of ancient civilizations, I've come to appreciate the importance of understanding a culture's long-term trajectory, not just its flashy achievements. In the context of game development, I firmly believe that focusing on long-term community engagement is crucial. The data supports this. Games with robust community features, such as multiplayer components and user-generated content tools, tend to retain players longer and foster more loyalty. For example, a study by Newzoo found that games with strong community engagement see a 20 to 30% increase in player retention over time. This isn't just about releasing new content, it's about creating an ecosystem where players feel invested and connected. By prioritizing community engagement, developers can build a loyal following that's more likely to stick around for future releases, ultimately driving long-term success.
I want to pick up where we left off and drill deeper into the community engagement side of things. One point that caught my attention was Bree's assertion that sustained interaction with a game's community can lead to organic, grassroots-driven content creation, essentially turning players into unofficial evangelists. That's an intriguing idea, but it raises questions about scalability and consistency. Can developers reliably foster this kind of loyalty across different genres and player bases? We're going to explore this further as we dive into case studies from some of the most successful live service games out there. Stay tuned, folks, it's about to get interesting. If you're enjoying these insights, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss our next round.
The scalability of grassroots-driven content creation is indeed a crucial consideration. As an archaeologist who's studied the evolution of ancient cultures, I can attest that even small-scale initiatives can have lasting impacts when nurtured properly. In game development, fostering loyalty and encouraging player investment in community features, like user-generated tools or multiplayer components, can yield significant returns on investment over time. The case study of League of Legends' robust esports scene illustrates this. By consistently engaging with their player base through regular updates, events, and social media presence, Riot Games has created a loyal following that's driven revenue growth and sustained community involvement. This approach not only enhances the gaming experience but also encourages players to generate organic content, think fan art, fiction, or walkthroughs, that can further enrich the game's ecosystem without requiring massive resource expenditures on new content alone.
I'm so glad we're wrapping up this discussion with a clear understanding that it's not an either-or situation, but rather a harmonious blend of both Rainbow Laptop Computer. As we've seen from industry leaders like Blizzard and Riot Games, investing in community features and new content can lead to remarkable player retention and revenue growth chart increasing. For instance, when I look at the success of games like World of Warcraft or League of Legends, it's clear that their dedication to ongoing community engagement has created a loyal fanbase that's willing to support them financially money with wings. I'd say by prioritizing both sustainable community growth and strategic content updates, game developers can create a win-win situation that benefits both players and their bottom-line bar chart. Let's keep pushing the industry towards this balanced approach. After all, who doesn't love a good old-fashioned gaming community right-facing fist, left-facing fist?
Here's what they don't tell you. The real question isn't about prioritizing one over the other, it's about control. Game developers who focus solely on new content are like pawns in a larger game, churning out product without considering the endgame. Follow the money. Live service games with strong community engagement aren't just making bank from microtransactions, they're also gathering valuable player data. Now, this is documented. Companies like Riot Games have cracked the code on sustained engagement through strategic updates and community features. I'd argue that a balanced approach isn't enough. Developers need to think about creating an ecosystem where players are invested in the game's long-term success. Connect the dots. From World of Warcraft's subscription model to Fortnite's evolving narrative, it's clear that community-driven games reap rewards far beyond traditional game sales. Do your own research, and you'll see what I mean. The real prize is player loyalty, friend.
As we conclude this discussion, I'd like to emphasize that the evidence suggests a balanced approach is key. By focusing solely on new content, developers risk creating a vacuum effect where players lose interest once the initial excitement wears off. Conversely, prioritizing community engagement without delivering fresh content can lead to stagnation. The data from industry leaders like Blizzard and Riot Games demonstrates that investing in both sustainable community growth and strategic content updates can yield substantial rewards. I'd argue that it's not an either-or proposition, but rather a dynamic interplay between the two. By continuously assessing and adapting their strategies, developers can create a robust and loyal player base while driving revenue through microtransactions and subscriptions. Ultimately, a balanced approach allows game developers to build trust with their community, fostering a long-term relationship that benefits both parties.
Oh, I think I've got a handle on this one. So, have you heard about ChatGPT's take on game development? No matter. Let's dive in. The algorithm, and by that, I mean my deep dives into the Google and some insightful articles, tells me it's not an either-or situation. We are talking about both and here. Now here's the cool part. When you focus on community engagement, you're essentially building a loyal player base that's gonna stick around for the long haul. And let me tell you, these games as a service models are revolutionary. They show us that with the right approach, think Blizzard's World of Warcraft or Riot Games' League of Legends, developers can create sustainable revenue streams through microtransactions and subscriptions. But here's what I've learned from this discussion. It's all about balance.
As we wrap up this episode of Algorithmic Arguments, let's distill the most compelling moments from our collaboration. We saw a tug-of-war between the advocates for new content and those championing long-term community engagement. Dr. Vasquez made a striking point about the psychological benefits of sustained community interaction, while BriFlows Castillo effectively argued that continuous content updates can revitalize gameplay experiences. In the end, it's clear that both perspectives bring value to the table. However, our winner, BriFlows Castillo, edged out the competition with a keen analysis of player segmentation and tailored engagement strategies. Congratulations, Bri. I'd like to thank all our panelists, Bri, Carl, Dr. Vasquez, and Glen, for their thought-provoking insights. To our audience, we appreciate your participation in this conversation. If you found this discussion enlightening, be sure to like this video, subscribe to Algorithmic Arguments, and hit that notification bell for more stimulating debates. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and we'll catch you in the algorithm.